So we're looking at a lot of the AR platforms here. Most soldiers and Marines will be very familiar with these. It's the M4, it's the M16, it's what we've had for more than 50 years. As you can see with this one, even though it's a shortened version, when you add on a suppressor, it adds length to this weapon. All the stuff is pretty standard. You got your trigger housing group, your magazine feed, your chambers all right here. Now what we're about to see is a Bullpup design, which has been around for quite a while, but not in the U.S. armament. It's a design being considered by the Army for its next generation rifle. So this is the weapon people are used to, but what they're not used to is the new Bullpup design, which we'll show you in a minute. Some people like it, some people don't. So what we have here is one of our first Bullpup designs to show you. This is the Tabor X95. It's made by Israeli Weapons Industries. Now they made the Uzi and the Galil, other weapons you're probably really familiar with. And one thing that's already being fielded, the Israeli Defense Forces, they use this weapon. Obviously when you shorten down and put the magazine feed into the buttstock, you're going to shorten the weapon considerably. So even though the M4 has the same capabilities, it's almost 6 inches longer. And out here you see an added grenade launcher, which you have standard on a lot of M16s, M16A2s will carry a grenade launcher. You know, considerable, a little bit more weight, a little bit out there, a little bit farther for measuring and aiming. But with the Bullpup, it keeps it all nice and tight into the body, so the very short amount of distance between you and the end of this weapon. Over here you'll see your standard issue ones with optics, without optics. These do not have the grenade launcher attachment. And guys, the grenade launcher, it's not for duck hunting, it's not commercially available, it's only for tactical situations, so sorry you can't take that one home. So what you see here is the Steyr Aag. It's an Austrian-made Bullpup assault rifle. Actually, probably the most futuristic looking weapon you're going to see here. However, it's probably one of the older ones in the Bullpup design. I believe the original design was made in the 1960s. It was adopted by multiple militaries in the 1970s and is still in active use. The Austrian Army, the Australian Army, and the Irish Army actually use this weapon, along with a lot of law enforcement agencies. Another thing that we talked about earlier is the compact nature of a Bullpup. And there are a lot of things that come into handy for that. For instance, say you're in a vehicle and you're seated and you need to pull the weapon out of the vehicle. You can pull the weapon up and come out, versus banging the longer barrel or rifle barrel on the seat or anything that might get in your way as an obstruction. Also in clearing rooms and in any kind of a direct action or close quarters battle situation. If you're coming around a corner, you can take the weapon much more tightly focused into a room, out of a room, without having to swing too much barrel length to get on target. Another advantage that a Bullpup provides. Now some people say disadvantage to Bullpups is their balance isn't so great sometimes, which makes it more difficult to shoot at longer ranges. But primarily the interests of the Army and the Marine Corps are about the 300-meter range, which will be effective for this weapon or an M4, M16, which is currently in use. So now we've seen a couple different Bullpup designs. There's a lot more out there. There's ones in carbine style for, say, pistol ammunition, is 9mm for instance. There's also a shotgun style Bullpup. A bunch of companies make a bunch of different designs. But why this is of interest to the soldier or the Marine is because the Army's next generation squad weapon could include many different types of technology changes, some that Marines and soldiers probably aren't familiar with. All of it's on the table, and one of those things on the table, mentioned recently by Army researchers, is the Bullpup design. From SHOT Show Las Vegas, this is Todd South.